Welcome to another Back of the Net recording. This is expanding double brackets or multiplying out double brackets, and sometimes called quadratic brackets. It's a high grade C question and one that students often get wrong, but really is quite straightforward. I'm going to show you two types of question. The first one is a straightforward expand x plus 2, x plus 3. And it's important to note here in this question that we don't actually have any sign between these two brackets. I would say here that these two brackets are kissing. It basically means that they're timesing each other. So we're going to set that out in a grid notation. And on the top I'm going to write x plus 2 and the bottom x plus 3. It really doesn't matter whether I did x plus 2 and x plus 3 or x plus 3 and x plus 2. And I've seen people in the exams stutter and get confused because they just can't decide which way to put it and get themselves in the middle. It doesn't matter, just pick one and stick with it. We're timesing them together, and now I just fill my grid. X times x, x squared. X times 2 is 2x, and I put the plus 2x, it's a positive 2. X times 3 is 3x. I'm going to put a plus in there. And 3 times 2 is 6. And it's positive 6. So far, with what I've done, for a high grade C question, so it's towards the end of the paper, I've already got 1 mark. I'm now going to continue to the next stage of the question. And the next stage of the question is to write down what's in this grid. I've got an x squared, I've got 2x, I've got another 3x, and I have a 6, which altogether gives me x squared. Now 2x's and another 3x's is 5x's plus the 6. And from there I can pick up my next 2 marks, one for that, total of 3. If you're not confident about that step, don't worry, because you'd have picked up 1 mark from here, and when we're getting towards the end of the paper, any mark is a bonus. Again, if you're confident with this line, but you're not so confident about this step, don't panic, just get that one done, because 2 marks is a bonus. But most of you in this case should be able to pick up that 3rd mark as well. Right, the next question we've got is simplify. It may also say expand. They do seem to interchange expand and simplify without too much worry really. Now this is an absolutely classic question. People see that, they see it squared, and they write y squared minus 16 and think they're really happy, because that will always on the mark scheme have at least 2 and sometimes 3 marks awarded to this question, and they think they've got it. They haven't. I'm going to just put that in the bin for now because it's not correct. As soon as we see that question, y minus 4 squared or something in bracket squared, we must write it as y minus 4 times by itself. And the minute we make that step, we've suddenly almost guaranteed ourselves of the full 3 marks. Now it's exactly the same question as this one here was. So I set my grid out, y minus 4, y minus 4. I haven't even got anywhere about where the 4's go because it's exactly the same. It's a times y squared. 4 times y is 4y, so it's minus 4y. 4 times y is 4y, but it's minus 4y. Then 4 times 4 is 16, and a minus times a minus is a plus. Let's not forget that. That's 1 mark. Write out everything I've got for the 2nd mark. That's 2 marks. Can I simplify it 1 stage further? Well, minus 4y and then another minus 4y will be minus 8y. Or if you like, you're at minus 4 with a drink, you chuck in 4 ice cubes, gets 4 colder, you're going to go down to minus 8y, and then add 16. 3 marks. One thing in there that so often causes a problem is the good thing, bad thing, how do you times negatives. I always say, sorry, I'll just delete this out of the way a minute, didn't really want that. I always say, if a good thing happens to a good person, that's good. People that do things well should be rewarded. If a good thing happens to a bad person, that will be bad. We don't like prisoners escaping from jail. If a bad thing happens to a good person, if a war hero gets shot, that would be bad. I'm using quite emotive things here and I hope it helps students remember. And then I have a bad thing happening to a bad person. We say that's good. I sometimes say to my students that a rapist should be castrated. A bit contentious, but they seem to remember it. So a minus times a minus is a plus, because if a bad thing happens to a bad person, generally in society we think that's good. I sometimes call this the Daily Mail rules. It really does help students to remember in the exam, and that is something they should be writing down on their tracing paper at the start of the exam just to help them through. Okay, you may want to remember that whilst you have a go at these two questions by yourself. Print them out. You've got to press pause now. Okay, welcome back. Here we've got expand p plus 2, p minus 3. So straight away the brackets are kissing each other there, so I know it's my grid idea. P, I'm going to put minus 3 there, and p plus 2. You may have done p plus 2, p minus 3. Doesn't matter. Just going to put the time sign in, fill in the grid. 3 times p is 3 minus, so it's a minus. P times 2 is 2p, and it's a plus, so it's a plus 2. 3 times 2 is 6. A minus times a plus. Bad thing to a good person is bad, so it's a minus. I'm left with p squared minus 3p plus 2p minus 6. And now I've got to think, my drinks are at minus 3. I add in two hot things, it's going to take up to minus 1, so it's p squared minus 1p minus 6. Then we might write that as p squared minus p minus 6. And that there would be 3 marks. 1 for there, sorry the colour didn't change. 1 there, 1 there, and 1 for either of those. Okay, next one. Expand t plus 5 squared. Now this is the one that comes up every single year. It's in the paper, and so many times I see this and I just weep, because I know all my students can do it if they just slow down and thought. We don't do that. When we see a bracket squared, we write it out times by itself, and that just starts our brain into the right rhythm, the right memory that that's where I use my grid. T and the 5, T and the 5, timesing t squared plus 5t plus 5t plus 25, and now we're away. I'm going to write it over here because I've run out of space on the board. T squared plus 5t plus 5t plus 25. Simplify that. T squared plus 10t plus 25. And that is 3 marks. 1, 2, another 1 there, another 1 there. Total of 3. And they're in the paper towards the end of the paper, so they're marks that are stretching it. That should be when you're well over your 70s and need extra bonus marks. Hope that's been helpful to you. Do some practice on there. I know my math has got lots of practice of these that will mark them for you straight away, so that might be a good place to try if you just want to get a bit more confident in those. Thank you for watching and listening. Hopefully you'll go on to look at some more back to net videos.